Hello, thank you all for joining us for ByAnnie Live. We are back for week number 10, which if you think about it means we are already a fifth of the way through 2021. Goodness, time flies. I can't believe we're that far already. We really enjoyed last week's session when we got to announce the winners in our local quilt shop contest, and we really want to thank you all again for voting and give our congratulations to all of the stores who received votes and were winners. Be sure to go to our blog to read more about the people who won and see some fun pictures of their shops. If you haven't seen our blog, we post every week, and you can find it just by going to ByAnnie.com and clicking on the blog link. It's right up underneath our logo. We're really looking forward to visiting with some of the winning stores virtually in the coming weeks, so watch for all of that coming soon. We did have a few questions from people last week and comments, and Donna D commented on how much she enjoyed seeing models of the patterns that we designed for organizing sewing supplies. She said, "I just wish I could be there and touch and feel them all. They are so pretty." That one made me want to remind you to be sure to check with your local quilt shops and ask them to schedule a trunk show. We are happy to send our models out to your local quilt shops so that you can touch and feel them, try them on for size, see which one you want to make, and really get to examine them up close and personal. So be sure to ask them to check that out. All they have to do is go to ByAnnie.com, click on the link that says classes and events, and they'll see a section that says trunk shows, and they can go there and sign up. So it's a really easy process, and we really like to have our models out working and not just hanging around here in their boxes. So be sure and do that. Monica also wrote and said, "I've just caught up on this live series. I am a new Bernina 770 QE owner." Congratulations to Monica. And she said, "Bernina USA is offering a 20% discount on feet and accessories in March. Can you please tell us which feet are a must for sewing bags?" Yes, absolutely. That is such a good question. And whether you are a Bernina owner or any machine owner, I'm going to share with you a few of the feet that I think are really essential when you're making bags. So the first one that I'll talk about is a walking foot. And a walking foot is used mostly when you're quilting. It enables all of your layers to move at the same time so that you don't get puckers and wrinkles in the fabric that's on the bottom. This is the number 50 walking foot for Bernina. It comes with 3 different soles, so you can change what's on the bottom. The other thing it comes with that I think is really nice is this seam guide. So this is just a little bar that connects onto the foot. There's a little piece here that goes on. You slide the bar through the holes, and then you can tighten the screw, and you can adjust that for however far apart you want your lines to be. So if, for instance, you want to quilt lines 1 inch apart, you measure from where your needle is to where the edge of this at 1 inch. Screw it in place so it's tight, and then you can just let the bar run along your previous line of stitching, and that makes it so that all your lines are 1 inch apart. That saves a lot of time in marking and makes it really easy for quilting. So that is one really essential tool if you're going to be quilting fabrics on your home machine. The other foot that I would not live without when sewing ByAnnie bags, and I dig these all up here, is a 1/4 inch foot. And I really prefer the number 37 foot. They also make a 37D, which is a little bit larger. It's made for the 9mm machines, and they have a much wider opening in the stitch plate, so it's wider on one side than on the other. What I love about the 37 foot is that I always know when I'm a 1/4 inch from the edge because the edge of my foot is there. If the inside of my toe is even with my fabric, I know I'm sewing 1/8 of an inch from edge, and if the inside of this side of the foot is even with the edge of my fabric, I'm sewing a 1/16 of an inch. And all of those are measurements that I use, so having a foot that enables me to measure those makes it really nice. This foot is also really small, so for instance, when I'm sewing the X to attach hardware and I stitch up the side and then have to turn, I'm not worried about it running into my hardware on this side. If you're using the number 37D, it's a 1/4 inch wider on this side. You're probably going to have to make some adjustments to how you fold your fabric over so that your foot doesn't run into your hardware. So you can use a number 37 foot, I believe, even on the bigger machines, so that might be one you'd want to consider. Another helpful foot is the number 10 edge stitch foot. Some machines call this a stitch in the ditch foot. Some call it an edge stitch foot. If you ever are doing quilting and you want to stitch in a ditch, there's a guide right here that enables you to stitch right along the seam line, and so your stitches don't show. We like to use this foot when we're sealing edges because we can, how can I turn this so you can see it? We can align that guide right up with the edge of our fabric and move our needle way over to the side so that we're stitching an even distance all the way from the edge. Because it's closed in the front, it really helps hold that fabric down and it doesn't lift up. The 1/4 inch foot, which I use most of the time, is open in the front, which I love because I can really see where my needle is and see any lines that I've marked, but it also allows fabric to lift up. So having one that's closed really helps make that easier. The other foot that I would really recommend getting if you're sewing ByAnnie products is a Teflon foot or a non-stick foot. This is the number 53 Bernina foot. Bernina makes a number of feet that have a Teflon lining. What I love about this one is it's only 1/8 of an inch on the edge, so it makes it really easy to stitch 1/8 of an inch from the edge. And normally when I'm sewing things with Teflon, I'm sewing 1/8 of an inch from the edge, so that just makes it a little bit easier. And then the last foot that I would say is a really important one to have is an open toe embroidery foot. This foot is really important if you're doing something that's not a straight stitch. So if you're doing a zigzag stitch or a decorative stitch or something like that where your needle needs to move back and forth, it's got enough width in here that it can do that. This is also helpful if you're sewing on buttons. I can put it down there and I can see where my stitching is. And because it's open in the front, you can really easily see where you're going. So those 5 feet are ones that I use very, very regularly. And if you're looking to increase your foot inventory, ones that I would recommend. For those of you who are watching, if there's feet that you would recommend that you love using that I didn't mention, make sure you leave a comment because we're all always interested in learning new things. So we'd love to hear what you have to say too. Before I go on I wanted to make a little note about our giveaways. Last week when we featured our projects to help you organize your sewing stash, we offered a couple of kits to make a needle case using our needle case and wool pincushions patterns. We picked 2 winners who were Gabby Art and Jan Squires, but unfortunately we haven't heard back from them with their shipping addresses. So Gabby and Jan, if you're with us today, please email us at marketing@ByAnnie.com so we can get those prizes off to you. And if we don't hear from those ladies by Friday morning, we'll probably just pick some other winners so that we can get those prizes off. And one more important thing that I want to talk about before I get into today's topic is shipping. We really appreciate everybody's support. We love that you're joining us for our Facebook Lives. We had lots of people who joined us for Virtual Sew Expo, and we've had other events going on, and our shipping department has just been hopping. We have been really, really busy. If you've ordered from us in the past, you know that our goal is to always pick and ship orders the same day we receive them. But we've experienced some real health and logistical challenges over the past few weeks. that means that we've been experiencing some real shipping delays, and orders are sometimes taking up to a week to get filled. So we've had everybody who's been here, all hands on deck. I've even been pulled in to assemble zippers, stuff patterns, enter orders, pick orders. Those are things I have not done in a long time. So we've all been pitching in to try and get your orders out as quickly as we can, but we are experiencing some unusual delays. So we thank you for your patience and your understanding as we work through this. And we also want to remind you again, if you have a local quilt shop who stocks ByAnnie products, please check with them first. So before you come to our website to order, check with them. If they don't have what you're looking for, they can certainly get it either from their favorite distributor or directly from us. And you can always use our LQS leaderboard on our website to find shops that are in your area. Remember that checking locally first helps support your local businesses and your communities, and it will also help us get caught up. So thank you again for your patience and understanding, and hopefully we'll get back to normal here soon. All right, so today's topic, we are going to introduce two of our new patterns. These are both updates of very popular patterns that we've written in the past, and I'm going to talk a little bit about each of them and then give you some ideas for customizing the A Place for Everything. So I'm going to start with Double Zip Gear Bag 2.0, which is an update of a pattern that we wrote in 2013. Let me clear my table off so I can make room for that. So this is what the original double zip gear bag looked like. It's a great little bag that is perfect for toiletries and all kinds of things that you travel with. And people have told us they love making this bag for the guys. It's got a little bit more of a masculine shape. A lot of guys say, oh, that's just like a DOP bag I used to have. And so when we decided that we wanted to update this pattern, we all said, why don't we try to put in more than one size? So this is the original size, which is very similar to the medium size in the new pattern. And then we added two more sizes. So we added a large one, which is about 25% larger, and a small, which is about 25% smaller. So three versatile sizes that you can use lots of ways. Each of the patterns includes our easier to follow instructions, better illustrations, and an add-on video. So what I love about these bags is that they have a zipper, a double zippered flap on top that is easy to open. It's got a little grab pull on here so you can pull it open, and it enables you to really easily access and see everything that's inside. So this is the medium bag. I've filled it with my cones of superior thread, so fine thread that I use to sew with. So you can see it holds a whole lot of stuff. The bag, or the top, you can just hold on to this little grab tab and pull it shut. You can carry it with that handle. There is also a grab handle on the end for carrying it. There are pockets on the front, a quilted pocket, on the back a mesh pocket, and then we also added pockets inside. I'm actually going to show you those on this small one because I don't have stuff in it. So the original pattern did have pockets on the inside, but we designed that pattern before we knew about fold over elastic. So those pockets were bound with fabric, and using fold over elastic really makes them the stretch along with it and close a lot easier. So I think you'll really like that. The mesh pocket on the outside lets you see what you've got in there, and they're just really handy little bags. So the large one on this one, well, I've just got stuff in there to keep it from falling down, but I've got one over here that I wanted to show you what I had in it. So this is a medium-sized one that would be perfect for kids' toys. So I've got my grandson's train tracks and trains in here. And when I made the original pattern, way back when he was just a teeny little guy, he loved this bag because it was one he could easily zip open and shut. He could carry it around. It was just the right size for him. So lots of ways that you can use this. We used the small one to show you that it could be used as a toiletry bag. So you can put your hairbrush in here, all kinds of toiletries, and great for packing in a suitcase. Easy to open and access. And then on this large one, we used slicker to line the inside so that it would have a wipe clean interior. To do that, we quilted the main fabric to the soft and stable, and then we did just those two together. We cut out the pieces, we fused the slicker to the lining, and then joined those two pieces by sewing around the outside. You don't want to have quilting lines going through your slicker when you sew that on, so we did that as a separate step. This one, as you can see, I've got my son has his shoes in here, so a great way to travel and carry things like that in your suitcase, and having the wipe clean interior makes it easy to keep it clean. All right. So that is double zip gear bag. There is an add-on video that goes with that. Also, make sure that you go to our website and watch both the intro video and the closer look video. We've got lots and lots of information in there about you know, different bags we made, different ways that you can use it, what materials you need. You'll find a lot of helpful information in there. Someone asked, what is the open toe foot last mentioned? That's the Bernina open toe embroidery number 20 foot. Are there any other questions you need me to answer, Trevor?
I wanted to give them a chance to ask before you moved on.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions about double zip gear bag or the feet that I talked about, let me know, and then I'll talk about those before we head into a place for everything.
Yeah, there's some interest in the slicker. Do you have any extra tips on slicker?
Slicker is a product that is an iron-on laminate. We carry it on our website. We talked about it maybe 2 or 3, well, we talked about it the week that we talked about interfacings. And so be sure to go back and watch our previous versions. But it is an iron-on laminate. It looks a little bit like contact paper. So you pull it off, you stick it on the right side of your fabric, and then you put the release paper back on it, and you just use an iron to fuse it down, just like if you were doing a fusible interfacing. You just don't want to touch it with your iron. Basically what it does is it turns any smooth fabric into a laminated fabric, and then you just sew with it like regular. Obviously, it's going to lose its waterproof capabilities if you have holes in it, so we only sew around the outside. We don't quilt with it. But it's easy to use. It comes, I believe, 16 inches wide, and so we you know, make sure when we're writing the pattern that we make it that you can use one solid piece. But it works really great for toiletry bags, makeup bags, inside of a makeup wrap, all those types of things. And I see my cousin Cynthia is sending her love. Love you, Cindy. It's great to see you. I hope Linda is joining us too. I have one cousin in California and her sister in Texas, and they seem to join us almost every week, so it's great to see both of you. All right, let's talk next about a place for everything. I'm going to clear my table off so I've got room to work. A place for everything is one that I know people have been really excited about seeing. The Teflon foot that I like is the number 53. They do have others too. I like that one because it's the 1/8 of an inch from the edge. But yeah, check out and see which ones they make, and you know, there might be a different one that you could see other uses for. The thing that you have to know about a Teflon foot is that, you know, the Teflon's on the bottom and you want to be careful with them. So use them where you need them. Don't use them for just regular sewing. Someone says, can you sew the double zip gear bag with leather? I actually have not sewn it with leather, but I don't see any reason why you couldn't. When you make this bag, I can tell you that if you're making this for the first time, we would recommend making the medium or the large. They're easier than the small. Doing this seam around here and binding it is, you know, a little bit of a challenge because you're working in tight quarters. Let me turn this inside out so you can see the inside of it. you've got to be able to maneuver the fabric pretty easily. And so doing that with leather, I mean, if you've sewn a lot with leather, you're going to know if that's going to be easy or hard. The thing when you're doing this is you're going to be binding this with this part up. So I really don't think that it would be all that hard. There's somebody's charger that got left in here. It's amazing what we find from props inside these bags sometimes. But yeah, I don't see any reason why you couldn't make this with leather or cork. It would be really nice. No quilting then, just sewing the edges? Yeah, probably. I don't think I'd want to quilt through the leather, although I have seen beautiful bags that people have made where they've quilted leather. Not bags, quilts actually, where they quilted the leather. So, you know, that's certainly an option too. But having never worked with leather, I'm not a really good person to answer those questions. So if anybody who's watching today has experience with that, please pipe in and let us know what you think and any tips that you have to share for that. All right, on to A Place for Everything. So A Place for Everything, I'm going to show you the original bag, and then I'm going to show you the new one so you can see some of the differences. Again, I'm not going to go through all of the things that we changed because our introduction video does a really good job of that. So if you just go to ByAnnie.com, search for A Place for Everything 2.0, and click on it, you'll see at the very end of all the pictures two videos. One is the introduction video, the other is the closer look video, and those have all kinds of great information. So they're going to show you what changed, show you different bags we made, ways we customized them, and rather than repeat all that today, I want you to just watch those. But so this was a pattern that we wrote clear back in 2013, and it was the subject of my very first Craftsy class, which I believe I filmed in 2014. So many people have made this bag and loved this bag, and there's a really good reason. It's the perfect way to carry and store a lot of stuff. So the bag had a handle at the top, you zipped it open, and it had pages inside with a variety of pages or pockets. So you could do 2 pockets, you could do 3 pockets, and then you could divide any of those pockets into sections, so you could have 4 pockets or 6 pockets. And the pages fastened in with Velcro, which held them in place, which was helpful because if you ever forgot to zip the bag and went to carry it, the Velcro kept the pages from falling out. Well, over the past 7 years, we have 7-8 years now, we have made a lot of these bags, and we've also seen a lot of customers' bags too. And it's been really fun to see all the ways that people have modified it, and also to hear input from people about things that they liked, things that they thought could be changed, and things that could be improved. So when we decided that we wanted to update this pattern, we looked at all those comments that we'd received and all the pictures we'd seen, and we made a bunch of changes. Again, you can watch our intro video to see what those all are. I'll point a few out as I show you the bags. The main thing that I want to talk to you about today is ways that you can customize this bag, and if you buy the pattern, you know, kind of how to approach it. This pattern, if you saw the drafts that we went through making it, I probably have a pile this big. I think we went through almost 40 different drafts before we got this pattern finalized. And at the beginning, just trying to decide how to write the pattern, because what I always like to do is I like to tell you all the things you can do, and you could do this, or you could do this, or you could do this, or you could do this. But then when you go to write a supply list, it's like, okay, which one are they going to pick? How are they going to know what they need? So we finally ended up deciding, okay, we're going to have 3 styles of pockets. They can make them out of vinyl or mesh, and we're going to tell them how to put them in. But when you go to make it yourself, if you want to have all your pockets one style, you certainly can do that. And if you want to switch up how they're made and not do them exactly how they're written in the pattern, you can certainly do that. The thing that you got to know is you may need different amounts of vinyl, you may need different amount of mesh, you may need different amount of zippers than what the pattern says. So that's kind of what I want to show you, some of the options. if the pages that are designed don't fit exactly for what you want to carry. I want to give you some tips for how to do that. And all of those things are important to know before you start making the bag. That said, what I usually recommend to people is make one pattern the way the pattern is designed, exactly like it's written, so that you understand the process, you understand how everything goes together, and then if you want to make another one and customize it, you'll know what needs to be done. There is always a way you can use an extra one of these bags, or it would make an awesome gift for somebody. So don't feel like you're wasting your time, and you're going to learn a lot in the process. So let me show you some of the bags we made and give you some tips for it. So one thing that you're going to notice right off that we changed on the new one is that it's larger, and we changed how it's carried. So we, instead of the handle being on this side, we flipped it around so that now the handles are attached to the front and back, and you carry it from the top. The really nice thing that enabled us to do is we can eliminate the Velcro that's on the inside. So now the pages just fasten in with a little strap that has a little bit of Velcro on it, but they lift out and they have just a fabric facing on each side. So that made it easier, and there were a lot of people who didn't love the Velcro and they didn't like catching the Velcro on things, so that solved that problem. One thing that I'm not positive I even mentioned in the video for this is you'll notice that there's two pieces of Velcro on this end of the strap. We did that so that when you open it out, you can fold that over and you have only the soft side of the Velcro here, so it's not going to catch on your shirt and, you know, snag it, where this is closed so you don't have that scratchy side out. So that's the purpose of that extra little piece of Velcro there. So your scratchy side can come down and fasten on here, but when it's open, you're not catching it. So that enables you to take out the pages, rearrange the pages, do all kinds of things with that. I'm going to show you a couple of options on just the bag itself, and then we're going to talk about the pockets, which is that gives you the most space for customizing. So the bag itself has a pocket on the front that zips shut, a slip pocket on the back, and we divided that with a line of stitching down the center to make two smaller sections. We felt that if that was open all the way across, you might have things fall out. So by making them smaller, you got more use out of it. If you have something big that you want to carry in there, by all means, you can skip that line of stitching. You also could add a zipper to this side and make it just like you did here. So if you want zippered pockets on each side, that's an option. On the inside, we have a zippered mesh pocket on one side and a slip pocket on the other side. This one we made with no divisions, so make sure you pay attention to the pattern. If you are going to stitch a division in this pocket, you've got to do it before you attach this pocket. If you're going to attach a zippered pocket here where you have to sew across the top, again, you've got to do that before you attach this pocket, and that's the way the pattern is written. So if you want it to do a zippered pocket on both sides, just follow the instructions for this and do it in place of this one over here. So this is actually pretty easy to customize if you so choose. You'll notice that the new bag is quite a bit deeper than the original bag. We also made the pages a little bit bigger, which gives them more usability, and you'll be amazed how much more stuff you can carry in this new bag than in the old one. One question that I know people are going to ask, because I've already had at least 2 emails asking it, people who say, I bought a kit for the original pattern, or I've already got the fabric and I've quilted it, but I want to make the new one, what do I do? I went through for one of them and looked, and I said, I think you're going to be able to use pretty much everything that you've already quilted, but you're going to have to buy some extra fabric because this has more pockets and the pages are a little bit bigger. I think you'll be okay cutting the pieces, but you're going to need a little bit extra. So you certainly don't need to start completely from scratch or get rid of that, but know that you're going to need more fabric, more soft and stable, and more zippers because we've got more options. All right, let's look next at the pocket pages. And what we've done in this pattern is given you 3 styles of pockets. So the first one is called Style 1, and those are basically one big pocket. with two options. You can either make it so that it zips on the side, or you can make it so it's a slip pocket that opens on the top. So 1A is the zippered pocket, 1B is the slip pocket. Either of these pockets can be made out of mesh or out of vinyl. I have one in here that's made out of vinyl. So you can do either one. We'll talk a little bit about mesh and vinyl in a minute, but for now let's just look at the styles. So that's style 1 pocket. We recommend that you use a style 1 pocket on the back of the pages. The original pattern had no pockets on the back, and I just felt like it would be too confusing to explain how to sew them. You'd have to really pay attention to your zippers, so we just left them out. But I noticed people in the Craftsy class in particular adding pockets on the pages, and I actually added pockets on mine, and it really wasn't that hard, especially if you were doing a slip pocket, because you weren't worrying at all about a zipper. So that was really easy to do, and I loved these pockets for putting larger things, like I could put my turning tools and things in here, which they didn't fit in the smaller pockets on the front. So those are really helpful. You could do these large pockets on every part of your bag if you wanted. So those are really versatile and can be used anywhere. Then on the front, we recommend that you use our style 2 or our style 3 pockets. So style 2 pockets have 2 pockets. However, any of those pockets can be divided into sections to make more individual pockets as well. And then we also have style 3 pockets. We've got somebody who's come to visit. We've got style 3 pockets, which have 3 zippered pockets, and again can be made out of mesh or vinyl. These work really well for carrying thread, carrying tools, carrying smaller items, the larger ones, for bigger items. So you can do either one, and you can also mix and match them from one side of the page to the other. So these are called pocket pages, and each page has 2 sides, a right and a left. I have to think, is that your right? My right and my left, your right, your left, on each side. So basically you've got one set of pockets here, one set of pockets here, another here, another here. So there's 4 different sets of pockets on each page. All of those can be something different. They also can be made out of a variety of supplies. One other thing that there's 2 other things that are big changes from the previous pattern. And if you made the original pattern, you will remember that we designed the pages so that they had pleats folded into the vinyl. The purpose of these pleats was to enable the pockets to expand and to hold more stuff. I thought that was really important, and the reason that came about is that I had a pattern called Hold Everything, which we still have, and it was a much smaller bag, and it had little vinyl pockets in it. And when I took it to shows, everybody looked at that bag and said, I love that bag, but it's not big enough. You need to make this bigger. What you need to make is the Foff bag. And apparently Foff used to make a bag very similar to the A Place for Everything, and the pockets in it had folds in the vinyl, and people said, you have to have those so that it will hold our bigger feet. So of course I said, well, yeah, I must have to have that. So I designed the pattern so that it had all of these folds in the vinyl. And I know Tula said, I don't love doing them, but that enables me to hold all of my spools of thread, so I do them. Well, when we got ready to do the update, my pattern development team looked at it and said, I don't know that those things make that much difference. And you would not believe how many arguments we had over that. And it wasn't until we actually made pages that had them and made pages that didn't have them and tried to put everything into them that they convinced me that really those pleats made no difference at all. So it made the bag way easier to make, to eliminate those pleats, and you're going to appreciate that. So that's one thing we changed. The other thing that we changed is how we install the zipper. So this particular bag was made according to the original pattern instructions, which is how we used to install zippers in vinyl pockets, where you do it just like if you were putting a zipper in a quilted fabric. You'd put your right sides together. On the vinyl, obviously there isn't a right side, but on the zipper there is. So you'd put the right sides together, you'd sew your seam, and then you'd finger press the zipper tape to the back and stitch down along the edge. And as you can see, you would see the zipper tape through that because your vinyl is see-through, and it didn't always look really nice. So we developed a new way to do zippers where when you're working with mesh or vinyl, either one, instead of putting right sides together, you will put wrong sides together and sew those together. And then when you finger press the zipper tape over, you're doing it to the front, and you can stitch along that edge, and it looks so much nicer. So the new pattern includes instructions for doing your pockets this way. So those are two big changes in the pockets on this. Someone asked, are those full-size spools inside the pages? These are Aurifil spools. I don't think this is their biggest one, but they're this size. And we've got 10, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, so 10 in each pocket. So that's 10, 20, 30, 60 spools in one page on one side. Can you carry machine feet in the pages? Absolutely. Put your feet in there, try them, decide whether you want to put divisions in to separate them. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then another question was, how many pages can you fit inside the bag? It really depends on what you have in your pages. The way we've got these pages packed, and I'm going to show you one that has some quilting rulers in it, I couldn't get more than 2 pages in, and so that's what we designed the pattern for. But here's an idea. What if you made extra pages and had maybe one filled with all your basic sewing supplies, another filled maybe with your quilting rulers, another filled maybe with your English paper piecing supplies, and then when you get ready to go to class, you just take the pages that you need. So you can make extra pages without having to make the full bag, and just have those on hand so that you can take with you what you want. They're easy to take in and out, but trying to get too many pages in, it just, the pages start lifting up a little bit too high and it gets too deep. So 2 is the best. All right, so on this bag we did all style 3 pockets on one page. We made them all out of vinyl because we want it to really be able to easily see our thread colors. And then on the back we did mesh pockets, one that's zippered and one that slipped, that we can put English paper piecing supplies in. On this page we did the style 2 pockets, so a little bit larger. We divided one in half so that we could put our chalk markers and glue stick in one, scissors in the other, and not worry about them running into each other. And then on the back again we did the same thing with our mesh pockets. Normally what we do when we design these bags is we will do mesh on one side and vinyl on the other, but I wanted to show you the differences between mesh and vinyl. So the one thing about vinyl is it gives you really great visibility. You can see what's in there, and you don't have to worry about anything in there coming out. So for instance, if you put your turning tool in there that has the little rods that are really small, if that pocket was made out of mesh, that could easily fall out of that pocket. So by using vinyl, I know that I've got really secure space to store everything in, and nothing's going to fall out, and I can see easily what's in there. It also gives it some real good stability, but it makes it a little bit heavier. If you made your pockets all out of mesh, as we did here, you can see the mesh is much more lightweight. This pocket probably weighs less than the other one. The mesh gives it a little bit of stretch so that it will accommodate bulkier items. It doesn't add any bulk, so it's a flatter page and easier to sew. And I still have great visibility and some ventilation. So let's say you wanted to use this as a diaper bag and you want it to be able to put wet clothes or something in there. You wouldn't worry about it getting stinky or whatever because it was all closed up in a vinyl bag. So that's another option. As you can see on these pages, we did mesh or style 2 on one side, style 3 on the other side, rather than all style 2 or all style 3. So you can mix that up however you'd like to. You'll notice the difference between these two pages if I try to stand them up. So the vinyl page stands up by itself. The mesh doesn't have that same stability. So obviously it's not going to matter when you put it inside your bag, but that's the difference between the stability that the vinyl offers compared to the mesh. So what we normally will do is we'll do mesh on one side, vinyl on the other side, and switch it up like that so that they have some good stability. So that's the first thing that you need to think about is, which material you're going to use, and then you just follow the pattern how it's written to cut out the appropriate material. To make the pattern easy, we cut them all the same size. So whether you're making mesh or vinyl, you cut it the same size and trim it after it's attached. It was just easier than saying cut it wider if you're doing mesh. Right, this is the next bag that I wanted to show you because this one I customized how I did the pages. And they're not going to look a lot different, but I want to explain to you what I did. So I've had a lot of people who say, I've been really getting into doing ruler work quilting on my quilts, and I've collected all these different rulers, and I need something to store them in and keep them safe and secure. This is a really great bag for that. So on this particular bag, I've got a variety of different rulers in here. So this page I designed for Angela Walters rulers, and I made separate pockets for each one, and the pockets as designed didn't fit it exactly. So what I did is I cut out my quilted fabric for the page, I laid it down on my table, and then I just took the rulers and I played with how to arrange them to figure out, what would be the best way to utilize them and get them to fit. And then I measured and changed the dimensions of the pockets. So this one is fairly close to the way the pattern is written. I believe one of them is a little bit shorter. I believe this one is a little bit taller. Same thing over here. The dimensions changed by maybe a ½ inch or so on some of the pockets in order to be able to fit the rulers in. Keep in mind that if you're doing a divided pocket like this, you lose a little bit of space where your zipper pull is. So, and you also lose some space over here when you attach this facing. So you can't assume that you could, put this division all the way over here and be able to fit that ruler in there. So add a little wiggle room on there. I think I added at least 3/4 to an inch on the sides to make sure that I would have enough room. But I just figured out what sizes they needed to be, made myself a little map of what sizes everything was, and then went from there. On the back, I did something a little bit different. So I did a style 1 pocket here, but rather than having that be just one big pocket, because I didn't want to worry about these two rulers falling down and scratching each other, I added a seam in here. So I stuck one extra pull onto the zipper, and I sewed the pocket in just as the pattern said. After it was sewn in, then I went on this side and I just sewed again right along this line. I made sure when I designed these that wherever that was would fit these two rulers. So I added a line of stitching that's not included in the pattern. On this size, I did just the slip pocket, and that enabled me to put all the booklets that come with the rulers in there. So that's for Angela Walters' various rulers. Then on this one, I know a lot of you collect Marty Michelle's various ruler sets, and I put those in here. So this is her set A templates. These are her set B templates. When I laid these out, I wanted to have separate pockets for each one, but again, because of how much room the zipper slides take out, I couldn't get them in. So I just compromised and made these full pockets, and they have 3 rulers in them. And for the most part, they're all staying where they need to stay. You can see that one has slid over a little bit, but I didn't worry too much about that. I was able to get each set into the pockets, and that worked really well. On the back, I put a zippered pocket with, again, Marty's instruction booklets and some of her larger rulers. And then on this side, I have a set of Westerly rulers. So that fit really well in the zippered pocket. So depending on the rulers you have, hopefully that's helpful to help you figure out what style you want to do, how you want to do it. But the really important thing is, before you ever start cutting out, watch the videos so you can see how it comes together. Watch even the add-on videos so that you understand how things come. And then figure out what you want to carry in this bag, lay it out, and then decide what style pockets you want to make. On the, because I want it to show, the small stripology ruler from Creative Grids that Gudrun designed also fits in this zippered pocket on the back. If you have one of those Omnigrid black folding things that has a mat and I believe a ruler in it, it fits in this without the division sewn in it. So it would fit in the back pocket. So it's amazing the number of things that you can carry in these bags. And hopefully that's been helpful to you to help you decide how to customize it for your uses. One person said, will there be a new Craftsy class on this new pattern? Very doubtful. The Craftsy class is written for the original pattern. We would have to film a completely new video, and since we have our own add-on videos now, we're pretty much focusing on that. I can tell you that I have way more projects to do than time to do them in, so trying to squeeze another Craftsy class in would be really difficult. The new ownership and the new system, I just don't think that will probably happen. But watch for our videos. The add-on video for this obviously doesn't go through every process the Craftsy video did, but we've got lots of free videos that help you with all the individual steps, and you'll have good success making this. Someone asked, how do I get my add-on code? All right, when you buy the pattern, inside the pattern is a little coupon. Well, they're supposed to be. Yeah, here it is. Inside the pattern. But here's a little coupon, has my picture on it, and it talks about getting your own add-on video. This code is unique to every pattern. So I'm going to hide that because I don't want whoever gets this to not be able to use their code. But there's a code there. So here's the really important thing that you have to know. When you want to buy one of our add-on videos or get access to one of our add-on videos, you basically have to buy it. And so you have to be logged in to your account. We have to know who you are. And so if you don't already have an account set up, make sure you do that and log in. And then you go to a Place for Everything 2.0 add-on video. You click to add it to your cart. It goes at the bottom. You're going to see a little place to put your coupon. You'll type in that unique code, and that will remove the cost. So normally we charge $5 for those add-on videos. If you buy the pattern, you get it at no charge. So you put in that code, it takes off the $5, and then you have to check out. So you have to check out, which then puts that pattern into your digital library. And you'll see a link down at the bottom that says Digital Library. You click on it. Again, you have to be logged in. If you're not, it will tell you you need to be logged in. So you go log in. And then you're going to see several sections. And I believe the top one is Recently Purchased Videos. And usually it shows just one. So whatever one you just added is probably the one that's going to be there. But if not, there's a little button that says See All. And you click on that and it shows you all the videos that you've bought. So that's how you access it. And then what we do is we usually start with an introduction to the project, and then we number the videos according to the step in the pattern so that you can find your spot really easily. So can you use the add-on video for the 2.0 to help with the original pattern? Probably. There are differences, and truthfully at this moment I don't remember what exact items we covered in the add-on video for this, but it would probably be helpful. One thing that I will tell you, if you have the original pattern, if you want to skip the folds, the pleats and the things, go for it. If you want to add pockets on the ends, on the back, you'll just have to figure out what size to make them and know that you sew the pockets on the front first and then on the back. But truthfully, there are so many amazing changes, and the new pattern has our new layout, our new, for this step you will need sections. It has way better illustrations because we have a graphic artist now doing them instead of me. If you had to buy the video, you'd be paying $5 for it. You get the pattern and the video for $10. So for $5, you're getting all the new content and the much better, bigger, more usable bag. To me, it's like I would just go buy the new pattern, and I think you'll be really happy with that. Another person said, will my soft and stable turn yellow as it ages? Your soft and stable will turn yellow as it is exposed to sunlight or even fluorescent light. So it really doesn't even, age will make it turn yellow because it gets exposed to that, but sunlight and fluorescent light really change the color of it. It doesn't change the usability of it or the functionality of it at all. It just changes the coloration. So I usually keep it in a dark closet or in a black garbage bag to keep the light from getting to it. But yes, that will happen. Someone can we add pockets like this in case in point? I'm assuming that you mean on Case in point is designed a little bit differently. The pockets on that are designed so that when you, let me stand this bag up. So Case in point is designed so that you can zip the bag up partway on each side and still access all the pockets. So on there, the pockets all open from what would basically be the sides of the pages rather than the tops of the pages. So you'd have to do a little bit of thinking to do that. But again, once you've made one and you understand how it works, yeah, it wouldn't be hard. I think you could easily do that to Case in point. So we talked about figuring out what you're going to carry, deciding if you want to change how the pockets are done, whether you want to have all the same style pockets on one page, or whether you want to do style 2 on one side, style 3 on one side, whether you want to make them with mesh or whether you want to make them with vinyl, if you need to customize them to exactly fit your stuff. Lots of decisions to make. I would suggest making those decisions again before you start cutting and quilting, but once you've got that decided, you're set to go. And we cannot wait to see the bags that you make. So make sure you send pictures to us. We do have a photo contest on our website. Every month we pick winners, and the winners get $50 shopping sprees at ByAnnie. So make sure you send pictures of your bags as you make them, because we can't wait to see what you do. To thank you for joining us today, we do have a couple of giveaways to announce. Because the supplies you're going to need are going to be so variable depending on what you decide to do, rather than doing a kit with everything in it, we decided this time we would just do 2 items. So we're going to do one kit where we give you the double zip gear bag pattern, which who knows where I've lost that, but the double zip gear bag pattern and a 1-yard package of soft and stable. This is enough to make all 3 sizes that are in the pattern. So think about who you'd like to make those for, and some lucky winner is going to win that. And then we are also going to do the A Place for Everything pattern and a 2-yard package of soft and stable. You need about 1.5 yards or so to make the bag as it is designed, and so a 2-yard package will let you do that and have leftovers to make another project or 2. So in order to be eligible, here's what you need to do. First, 2 things. Leave a comment. Tell us something that you learned today or that you want to add to the discussion, how you would customize the bag, what feet you think are best, anything that you want to add, and also tag a friend. We really want to spread the word about our weekly Facebook Lives, so in order to be eligible for the giveaway, you need to do both of those things. if you are like me and have never tagged a friend on Facebook or aren't sure how to do it, I knew how to do it on Instagram. You just type @ and their Instagram name. But on Facebook, Trevor says it's a little bit more complicated. So the first thing you do is type the @ symbol, and then you put in their Facebook name. So if you were going to tag me, you'd put @Patterns by Annie. And then if you've got that name right, you'll see a little window pop up that says ByAnnie.com, Facebook Live, or whatever. So their name and image will pop up. What you have to do then is click on that, because that then puts in that whole thing and make sure that you're tagging the right person, and then you can type your comment. So tag someone, put in your comment, and we know that not everybody can watch us when we're live, so we will accept any comments and tags done by midnight Mountain Time tonight. So that's about 9 hours from now. So you've got plenty of time to watch this again, add your comments, and we will pick some winners. And then be sure you watch your messages so that if you are a winner, we can let you know, and then you can email us with your address information so we can get everything sent off to you. Thank you again so much for joining us this week. It's always fun to take time to be with you, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye-bye.